What's up, you guys, and welcome back on another episode of the Smart Talk. We're talking about real struggles, real stories, and entrepreneurs that came from the ground up. Today, I have one of Albuquerque's best power couple in the building. I got Eric and Nikki in the building.
Hey guys.
What's up, guys? Nice to meet you all.
It's nice to meet y'all too.
Appreciate you
Nice
coming
to
on the
meet
show,
you.
you guys.
Of course, man.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, appreciate y'all. So I know a lot of people know you guys in the community as far as like the gym culture, you guys fitness, coaching, whatsoever. So I want everyone to just get to know like the true Nikki and the true Eric and you guys come up story, you guys power couple story. So tell me a little bit more about you guys yourselves.
So basically, we met. We've been together 23 years. So we met through some mutual friends. She was kind of in fitness. It's always been my dream to be a bodybuilder, but we started popping kids. So every time I wanted to start competing or talk about competing, we had another child on the way. So I had to kind of put myself on the back burner.
Yeah.
And just I didn't get to finish school or nothing. We started a family young.
Yeah.
She was 23, I was 24, and we just had to just kind of make it work, And then managing for 15 years is how I kind of did it. She worked part-time in the restaurant industry because I didn't want her to work full-time. I never wanted to put my kids in a daycare.
Yeah.
I see too many things on the news, man, where they mistreat kids, and so I'm real protective with my kids. So I told her every time we had a kid, you stay home. I'll work overtime. I'll work double time. I'll do what I gotta do to take care of the family. But we had our struggles, just like anybody else. Everyone portrays their marriage as perfect, but she wants to kill me half the time, bro. But she still loves me.
Yeah.
23 years later, we're still here. We're true to ourselves, and we're honest with people, and we like to help people. Like us, this is our passion. It's not a job to us.
Yeah.
We help people, we provide for people. God returns us the favor by helping us financially. I don't chase money no more. When I was young, I used to chase money, and and I was broke. I was like, why? I'm working all this overtime. What's going on? Why am I broke? Because I was chasing money. That's all I thought about. And I started realizing, well, after 15 years of being together and struggling, we had our ups and downs, living in little apartments, being through those bad times, and her having 3 kids. She had preeclampsia with the first kid. She almost died from that. So, but I tell people, I'm 45, she's 44. Age don't mean nothing on fitness and your health, man. People meet us, they don't think we're a day past 30.
Yeah.
It's just stay. I try to preach it, teach people right. Stay in the gym, stay healthy. You don't have to be a bodybuilder. Sometimes people meet us and I don't want to compete. But I'm telling you, no, we're based off what you need, what your goals are, we're going to help you. You let us know what you guys want to do and we'll help you. So, this is kind of how we generated our business. Is just we started coaching, 13 years ago, part-time. And she just followed my dream. She just, you want to be a bodybuilder, let's do it. 3 years after I started competing, she's like, well, I want to do it too. She's like, give me that attitude. She's like, well, I want to do it too. I could look good and kind of tell me a little bit.
He did tell me I couldn't do it at first. Not in a mean way. He just said I wasn't ready. I didn't realize what a diet was compared to a competitor diet. It's very different. So it's
another
hard
monster.
because I am Latina. I like food. I'm a foodie. I'm always putting some spice in there, and he's on my back, making sure I'm on my diet.
I'm on your ass all the time, bro. People, my clients think they have it bad. Well, she's my wife, and I coach her.
Man,
It's for the kids.
So we don't restrict the diet on our children either. It's our choice to be competitors. My son, he's followed my path. Pickiest eater in the world. 16 years old. I told him, give me a month. We'll transform your body, bro. 4 or 5 pounds later, this kid already put on a muscle in a couple months. And so now he's like, okay, I'll start following the diet. So now he eats everything we eat.
Yeah.
45 pounds of muscle in 3 years. All natural. I know people always pointing fingers. This person takes this person. I'm like, people have no clue. It's in the kitchen, man.
Yeah.
You can work out 7 days a week, 10 times a day. But if you don't eat right, you're not going to look good, man. You are what you eat.
Yeah, a lot of people say it's like a 70-30 split. It's like 70% diet, 70%
At least,
gym.
bro.
Is that true?
Yeah.
It's pretty true, bro. Honestly, I could probably tell you it's closer to 80, bro. Because you are what you eat. Trust me, I love donuts, cookies, candies. I love all that shit. But I tell people, I love my abs more, or I like to feel good. Because
Yeah.
when I do eat my cheat meal, I feel, at the moment, I feel amazing. You know, the next day we wake up, we look good because we're always on our diet. But I feel like ass that whole night.
Yeah.
After
We enjoy it.
They laugh at me.
We
I
enjoy
pass
the
out in
cheat
the
meal
car.
for
They do
sure.
They do Snapchats of me passed out in the car because my body's not used to all that
Instantly.
sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I pass out instantly. Anytime we eat anywhere, I sit in the car, I'm done.
And how much does your diet change once you start getting into competition time?
Once you start getting competition, we do a 16-week prep normally.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gradually doing cardio now, 15 minutes in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
An hour sauna. I work out 2 days. So I work out with my wife in the morning. I'll go with my son. If she's prepping, she'll be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Cardio again after our workout. So we'll do 2 workouts a day, 2 cardio sessions a day, and sauna once or twice a day.
Dang.
So like I tell people, if you can't get to the gym once, man.
You
Like,
get 5 times, 6
I
times.
tell my
yeah.
clients, if I tell you to do something one time, I'm going to do it 3 times over.
Mm-hmm.
If I tell you to do cardio, I'm doing it 2 or 3 times over. If I tell you to work out or diet, we're doing it harder.
Mm-hmm.
Just know, I'm a big believer. Lead by
Yeah.
example. You can preach it all you want. Because, you know, you got a lot of coaches out there.
Yeah.
But I can honestly tell you 15% of them are probably good coaches
Mm-hmm.
because they live the lifestyle.
Yeah.
I tell people, because I coach personal trainers too. I tell them, if you don't master your craft, you can't teach it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever we all do in life, you know, I say it takes about 10 years to master a craft,
Mm-hmm.
to where you're actually a professional at it. Then start teaching others. You know, you can't say I'm a coach and you have a gut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't make no sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what is that? Like, I
'Cause
see
you
trainers
see it, bro.
like, look like bitches.
Yeah, bro. It's sad, bro, because it's easy. It's so easy to get certifications nowadays.
Yeah.
You could get 10 certs in a month, but that doesn't make you a coach, bro.
Yeah.
Doesn't make you a personal trainer. It sure as hell don't make you a life coach. Because I think people have been seeing us do this for a long time. They see what I post. But life coach, bro, power couple, all those things, bro, because, you know, people go to gym together now. They're a power couple. But I'm like, that's not a power couple, bro. A power couple is struggling together, overcoming all these obstacles in life for a good 10, 15, 23 years together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're nowhere near perfect, bro. You know, we've had plenty of struggles, but like God says, bro, I lead by Him. You know, you're gonna fail 1,000 times,
Yeah.
but that one time you get back up is when you succeed, bro. You just don't give up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
What's your approach when someone comes up to you and they're struggling with their self-image or self-confidence? What do you guys do as coaches or just as human beings in general just to uplift them?
well, we're both for one, we both approach it as life coaches first, because I feel like people relate. The women, you know, they're comfortable with both of us because they see us as a couple. I think it helps the women. Our clientele is 70% women.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it helps that we're a couple. So they feel comfortable with both of us.
Mm-hmm.
They look at her as the friend, mama, and me as like the strict dad. Because I walk in the gym, they're having a party. You know, and then all of a sudden I walk in, they're all serious. And, you know.
Everyone's like getting to work and
Yeah.
Yeah.
no more talking.
So, you know,
Serious.
she's more like their friend,
Mm-hmm.
their comfort, like their mama. You know, because our clients, we get close to them. You know, most of the time our clients are like family. You know, we see them more than our own family. So,
And it's hard. It's really hard for them. I feel like as women, you know, in the society that we live in today of what's perfect, you know, a
Social
lot of
media.
women are insecure and they don't want to go to the gym. They love that we have our home gym because it's private, you know, and we're able to teach form, breathing techniques, stretching, things we don't see in the gym, you know, so, and one-on-one, you know, that life coaching and stuff. I have a daily devotion. Not everyone's Christian. We're Christians, but that's what I refer to. We refer to God, you know, as
whatever your religion is, you know.
yeah,
God
and it's a
first,
cute
you
little,
know.
you know, whatever we talked about, it's a little prayer. They always seem happy, you know, when they read it and they let it out, you know, vent. I am a friend, I'm a safe place. So a lot of women tend to, I feel like I could tell you anything, you know, like, so I let them vent. I let them talk about it. Most of them are very insecure and afraid to wear certain things. By the time they're working with me, man,
Taking
forget
more
it.
selfies than us, bro.
They want
know,
to be
but
on
we
camera.
love that,
Yeah.
You know, their confidence is there. And it makes me feel accomplished as a coach, you know, that I'm doing my job by seeing them smile, by seeing them get changes. I'm more excited than they are. I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, you know, their biggest cheerleader, because
That's
a
where we
lot
are
of people
now.
don't have that. You know, you get into shape and you think people are going to be more for you and like you more. No, they don't. They don't want to see you doing better than them. And it's jealousy, envious, you know, and it's like, how about just ask for help, you know, instead of being jealous? How can we change it? How can we help each other, you know, instead of being against one another, you know?
Yeah.
And that's our outlook on things, is we're trying to make this world a better place, one person at a time. You know, we all have our things that we do, and like you guys do the podcast, and that's great because I think it helps people to open up. And it's good for the people that they see, so they could, you know, they could see you as a person and get more personable with you.
Yeah.
Because people, like I said earlier, you know, they judge you by how you look,
Yeah.
or who your status is, or who you hang with, or not every time really people don't really know you.
Yeah.
So it's good to talk, to say your story. You know,
Yeah,
I've been
absolutely.
wanting to jump on podcasts for a while. I've been asked for years. And I think the time is now for us. You know, we do have a big gym we're probably going to be opening up next year. It's
Really?
going to be,
Y'all too?
yeah, here in New
Yes.
Mexico. It's something that's been in the work for a long time. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we're waiting on grant loans and just a lot of things going on. I'm taking my time. I didn't want to rush it because I didn't want a gym like everybody else.
Yeah.
I've been to the gyms all over the United States. I want the gym. I want you to walk in there and never want to leave.
Yeah.
That's the impression I want, you know.
Yeah.
I want, like, 'cause we went to this gym in Texas after the national show, and I competed there both, what we did last year, called Recomp Gym. Bro, you go in that gym, you don't want to leave. It's sick.
Yeah.
It's fancy. It's classy. It's you know, it's like a
next
VIP
level
gym.
for sure.
It's next level,
Yeah.
and you know, everyone in there is like looks the same. So even for us, it's like I'm like, damn, everyone's in shape,
Yeah.
top shape, sick. Yeah, and
It's
then the whole gym
motivating.
goes infrared like every 20 minutes. And that's the kind of culture I want to bring to Albuquerque. I feel like everyone's too worried about being against each other. I want to see what I could do to bring the whole community together.
So would you say you guys' approach would be somewhat of a safe haven for everybody to?
Yes, for
Right.
everybody.
Yeah.
Get kids
Yeah.
off the street. You know,
Yeah.
I grew up in the street, you know. I come from a good family, but I hung out with the wrong people half the time. I hung out with the jocks, then I hung out with the thugs. You know, I just grew up here. I don't judge people. I give everyone the benefit of the doubt. Some of the best people I know got out of prison. You know, so I don't judge people, bro, because we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
Most of us didn't get caught. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because some people judge, well, that guy was in prison or whatever. I'm like, you don't even know what happened in that guy's life, and you probably did worse when you were growing up. You just don't tell us about it.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't really judge people. We give everyone the benefit of the doubt. You know, we've dealt with everybody from cops, firefighters, judges. We've trained everyone, beginners to competitors. And everyone comes to us mentally having some sort of mental issue we got to fix. Because we all have that. It starts up here.
Yeah.
You know, health and fitness starts mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Because I tell people, you got to fix yourself mentally, spiritually, then your body follows. But it's a mental job. You know, once you get your mental right, that confidence when you go in the room, you know, you get a good pump and you walk and you just feel like you could talk to anybody. You know that feeling?
Chest up
Like,
and
you know,
everything,
chest
yeah.
up, you got pump.
Yeah.
Money can't buy that. Like I
Yeah.
tell people, you got to invest in fitness, yeah. You got to invest in good coaches, whatever. And the food's a little more expensive to diet, whatever. But you're investing in your life. I
That's
tell
the best
people
investment you can make.
longevity,
Yeah.
bro. You know, like I'm 45, she's 44. We're still working out like we're 20.
And I don't feel my age.
No,
Yeah.
man, people
At
don't
all.
do,
I feel
you know, people
like
don't
we're
believe
aging
us.
backwards. There's no age on fitness. And a lot of people are like, my mom, she's like, I'm too old. He thought I'm too old. I'm like, Mom, I talk to people about this. You know, you're not dead. You know, there's things that we could do to stay healthy. You know, we want our kids to keep up with us. We don't want to keep up with them.
Yeah, because everyone else says I want my kids to keep up, and I was like, turn that around. Where they look at you and they're like, damn, my dad's crazy in the gym, or my mom, like I need to keep up with them. Set that standard at home.
Yeah.
You know, kids are the way the parents are. If you see a kid doing bad, bro, it's probably coming from home. If you see a kid excelling in life and doing good, they set standards at home. You know, that kid's doing good because he was raised right or she was raised right. It's always from home. Whatever's happening in life, it comes from home, man. And of course, as kids, when you're a teenager, you make bad decisions. Mom and dad probably tell you not to do it.
Yeah.
But that's part of life. You know, you have to learn from your failures and your mistakes. You know, I made plenty of mistakes, bro. I failed plenty of times, but like I told her, we never gave up. We never gave up on each other. You know, one instance, I fractured my hip 13 years ago. I lost my job because they put me on disability. My car broke down the same week, bro.
Oh, man,
Like
yeah.
that week was just going to shit.
Yeah.
And then my wife told me, you know what, she worked 3 jobs for 14 months. Took care of me. I was making $1,300 a month in disability. So, you know, what would most girls nowadays do if something like that
Oh,
happens?
they're out,
Yeah,
bro.
They
they're
fucking
out,
bounce,
yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's when I gained another level of respect for her. Because I know most women nowadays would be like, well, he's not making the money he used to. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's when you know you got a real partner. When you got a soulmate, you know.
Mhm.
Because, you know, we talked. Before we even met, we lived right next to each other for about 10 years. Crazy. I was at one apartment, she was right next to me. And we talked, and, like, we lived by each other for about 10 years before we even met. But see, what God didn't have us meet at that time. Because it probably wouldn't have worked out.
Mhm.
We met when we met because that was God's plan.
Yeah.
You know, that was our time to meet and
God's
see
timing,
what
yeah.
we could do with it. He gave us, you know, I feel like God gives you 2 options. You have your good path and your bad path. Most of us always take the bad path first. And we might take it over and over and over.
Mhm.
But, you know, we found ways to make it work. You know.
Yeah.
But
And honestly, the gym has always
the gym,
been like
seriously, you know.
something that's kept us together. Because, you know, I feel like when you're doing it together with a partner, it's just your goals are just more, you know, you just have the same mindset. You know, we usually prep and do shows together as well. This time I'm going to sit this one out. I'm going to focus a little more on my daughter. You know, she's 13 now, just starting summer and stuff. So I want to spend some time with her and support him, you know, in his show upcoming. So
So, yeah, I'm excited for that. And we took time off, but I get the itch. I get that itch. We usually don't compete to the end of the year now, but I'm getting the itch. I feel good. You know, I don't have no pains.
Yeah.
We take care of ourselves. We make sure we're good inside and out. You
Yeah.
know, we make sure our blood works are good. You know, we go draw blood a couple times a year, which we need to go do actually.
Mhm.
But it's an inside job first. Like I
Yeah.
tell people, don't go do a competition before you make sure you're healthy. Because you might feel healthy, but you might have a blood clot forming or your heart rate's too high. Something's going on with your body. So it's good to get checked.
Mhm.
Most competitors go get checked. They do blood panels and stuff. You could tell when something's off, but
Mm-hmm.
competing's another monster. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
I always tell people, try it once. Because, you know, I think a lot of times people see bodybuilders say, oh, they're cocky, they're arrogant, they're always flexing in the mirror. But that's what we're judged on.
Yeah.
So to everyone else, you might look good, but when you step on that stage, that judge is finding whatever's wrong.
Mhm.
You have 5 judges on that panel, and they're looking for whatever's wrong. Because they got to compare all these people. So, you know, you have to be the one that makes that difference, that looks good, condition, you know, good, you know, mine 5-6% body fat, if I could get up there at least at that.
Yeah.
And it's another monster to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, when it comes to competing, does tattoos affect it in any way? as
No,
far as
and
definition?
I thought, well, tattoo placement is a big thing too, especially shows are one from the back,
Mhm.
men and women. I try to tell men don't get too many back tattoos
Yeah.
because you want to see those separations. You don't want to go cover your whole body either.
Mhm.
But I feel like if you don't cover your shoulders too much, your legs too much, your back, you can still see all the muscle they need to see.
I see.
And if you condition the way you're supposed to, it's going to be there. Because when they tan you, we all have the same tan coat.
Mhm.
So we all look dark, and a lot of times the tattoos are kind of covered up with the tan anyways.
Mhm.
So if you ever notice the bodybuilders on the shows, they all look the same color.
That's true.
And
Yeah.
the tattoos don't look as dark as they usually do.
Mhm.
So it kind of gives them a good eye to see how everyone's looking.
I see.
And
So I know you
Yeah.
guys are big in the gym, but let's go back for a sec, right? So let's talk about divorce rates and couples that just don't grind it out with each other, and it looks like you guys really stuck it out with each other. I'm sure you could have left him multiple times and vice versa, you know.
Yeah.
So what are some advice you can tell like young people or people that are struggling with their marriage to keep it going and not quit? Because I feel like everyone just quits because I feel like social
They
media
do,
now,
bro.
everyone has just too many options, and it's just I feel like there's more loyalty no more in
Right.
relationships. Like,
no,
you
I
know?
see it a
Hardest,
lot. I
yeah.
see it a lot.
It is.
And one thing I could say to people that do that is that person even worth it? That you're someone's flirting with you or texting on social media, you have a girlfriend or wife, whatever. First thing I say when I introduce myself, because I know how women could be, I know how men could be. I would say my wife and I. So we could help you with coaching. So when I talk to people, I always talk about her like she's in the conversation before she's even in the conversation. So they know automatically so you got to set the boundaries. It's all about boundaries. We've been there.
And
we've had boundaries crossed.
Is a big.
That's
big
the biggest thing, man.
Yeah.
If someone disrespects, I gotta tell her right away, because then it looks like I'm hiding something, or vice versa. Most people know you're married, but people like to test that.
Test, yeah.
People will test it. I've been girls have tried. Men not really as much.
No, he looks like he eats people. No one's gonna try to mess with me.
Girls are different nowadays. I feel like, I don't know. I kind of blame men in a way too, though, because we have mistreated women for a long time and taken advantage of women, I think. But now women have this thing too where they got to twist it, and you can't hold grudges with the next partner. If it didn't work with one partner, you can't hold that against every man.
Yeah.
Because, men are different. And I feel like women are more powerful nowadays too. I ain't gonna lie, I worked in management for almost 20 years. They worked harder than most of the guys, bro. Women are hard workers nowadays too. Back in the day, you stay home, the man works. That's the way it was. But nowadays, I feel like the women stepping up to be a man half the time, and they're losing respect for their man, bro.
Yeah.
And I think that's where
that's the men's fault.
That's the man's fault.
Yes.
Yeah. Because men's supposed to provide.
Oh yeah.
Yes, bro. I was raised, you're the man of the house. You take care of your wife, your kids, you protect them, period. But nowadays, though, there's so much access to make more money. If your wife could rise with you, your partner, bro, you can make so much more money and be so much more successful if you do it together.
Yeah.
But like I said, communication is the biggest part. And social media is a problem for a lot of people, bro, because they don't know how to. We use it as a marketing tool, bro. You know me, I post all day long. Facebook, what does everyone do in the morning? They're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, middle of the day, lunch break, before they go to bed. Yeah. Everyone's on social media, bro. So if you have a business, market it. They're going to see my face wherever they want to. I'm going to post all day long.
Yeah.
About her business, she posts her clients all day. Her job is kind of like she does a lot of personal training.
We have our own jobs.
Yeah, we have the same business, but we have our own job.
And that's what people like, honestly. Yeah. They like the, opinions of both of us, a man and a female. And then he does the nutrition. We have our parts.
Yeah. And that's how I think it makes us more versatile. Because a lot of people do this alone.
Yeah, you guys
and they take too many people on. And, bro, then you start neglecting everybody, and now everyone's pissed off.
It's going to have a backup, Like sometimes he's busy on an online client, and I'll start his client,
Whatever's going on, I do a lot
work together.
I work off the phone 90% of the time, so I do consultation calls all day long. I spend like 6, 7, 8 hours getting just on the phone. So she'll back me up if I got a client coming or whatever it is, the kids, make the food, but I feel like...
I'm all over the place.
Yeah, we spread ourselves. Yeah. And another thing I think that people are wrong too, and I see this all the time, everyone says it's 50-50, but it's not 50-50, bro. Because if you're telling your partner, I'm going to give you 50% of what I got, where's the other 50% at?
Right.
You got to give 100. And I heard this quote by Steve Harvey one day. I told my wife, and we need to do it more often ourselves. Like, you wake up in the morning, you tell your partner, how do you feel today? Well, I'm going to tell her, I felt about 60% today. So she's going to come at me and say, well, I got the other 40%. So maybe I wasn't feeling good that day. So now she's doing 140% instead of 100. We cover each other depending on how we feel. And I feel like we've always done that. It's it, sure. But that's how marriages work, man. And
love yourself. The way you love yourself, you'll be able to love your partner even more when you love yourself. I had a client that I asked her, when's the last time you told yourself you love yourself? She was like, she started crying, She was like, I never have. I said, well, let's do it together. Every morning, look in the mirror, tell yourself you love yourself. I love you 10 times. She did it. And she came to me so excited. She said my whole vibe was different the whole day. I was happy. I feel okay, and sometimes they need that. She started crying, telling me thank you. All it takes is sometimes one conversation that you could help someone. 1% better every day.
And I think that's the thing too, is relationships also, is a lot of people are broken. And even if they're married, they don't know how to, once they like start failing, they just start bickering at each other. Financial stress is a big, we've had that. We overcame that plenty of times. You want to kill each other because you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You start freaking out, but the best thing to do is just take a step back. How do we get here? Figure it out. Me, I'm a hustler. I hustle 24/7. I'm up the minute I get on my phone, the minute I go to bed. The phone whacks me in the head sometimes, bro, because I'm still grinding at midnight.
Yeah.
And I'm passing out at the same time, but I never stop hustling because I know I have a family to take care of, bro. Because sometimes I think people judge you based on, you buy material stuff and whatever. But it's not about material shit, bro. It's about we come at it from a time where we couldn't even spend $20. So when I could buy something nice nowadays, bro, I do. I'm like, shit, we made it, We're getting better and better. Our businesses are growing more and more. We've built 6-figure businesses. My goal is 9-figure businesses, bro. Once I get that, I want more. And it's not about the money. It's about leaving that generational wealth for my grandkids, my grandkids, my kids. We got to set them up and teach them right, And that's where families break, man. I think a lot of it comes from, social media. Everyone, they think they have options, but do they? That person's just messing with you because you're in a relationship. Half the time they break up that relationship, and that fucking person's nowhere to be found.
You guys are religious people, so it's more of the temptation that,
Yeah, you gotta block it, bro. And that's like I always tell people. We always say this, God's your right hand man, but on the left side, bro, you always got the devil pulling.
Yeah.
So you gotta rebuke it, bro.
Yeah.
When you feel any sort of way, we probably, anything in life, bro, whatever it is, even a person, people have tried to come in between our marriage, family, whatever, saying this, but we won't. Once they talk about our marriage, they're done, bro, because we come first.
Yeah.
We'll always open our doors back to anybody else, it's family, but if they try to get in between our marriage or your relationship, even if it's just a boyfriend, girlfriend, they're not happy for you. So if they're not happy for you, they gotta go.
A lot of people project, on themselves, too.
Because they want something you have. I used to get hurt back in the day when someone didn't like me. I'm like, how come they don't like me? Like, I get my feelings all hurt, bro, but it was never my fault. They have issues they got to deal with.
So
And it's not your fault someone doesn't like you. It's their problem that they have to fix themselves.
Yeah.
So it's never you. You know what I mean? If that means actually the more people talk about you, the better, bro. Good or bad. If you're being talked about, you're winning.
Yeah.
Straight up, So I tell it's like on social media, everyone's always worried about likes. I'm surrounded by a lot of millionaires a lot of time, and they're all about views, bro.
Yeah.
It's who's watching.
First
200 or 300 people on your stories, bro, are the ones that don't support you. They're just watching.
Yeah.
But they whether they like you or not, they want what you have, bro, or they're picking ideas from what you do.
Yeah. Well,
So obviously you're doing something right. If you're being watched, I'm getting 50,000 views a day. So I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
Well, we want to motivate.
You want to motivate. But my goal is to
everybody.
motivate everybody. Her goal is to do the same. She's really into the woman empowerment. I'm really into helping, everybody, man. Men, there's a lot of suicides in men. Why? Because men don't talk. We all have this ego. We don't cry. I was raised in a time where you don't cry.
Yeah.
You get smacked if you cry.
Frowned upon.
Yeah, men do cry, bro. You have to. Sometimes I think when people meet me, and they'll cry to me, bro. I'll get clients and men, and we'll talk about life, and they start crying like, bro, like, you're a good dude. Like, they think because I'm a bigger dude that I have to have this wall up where, you can't get emotional. Bro, men get emotional too, bro. You have to release somehow.
Yeah.
Tell them go yell on a mountain if you have to. You got to let it out.
Yeah.
Go to the gym. My mom passed a year ago, bro. What do you think I did? I went to the gym 4 times that day. What do most people do? They crawl up in a ball and cry and feel sorry for themselves, bro. My mom was my biggest fan, bro. What would she want me to do? She always cheered me on. She always wanted me to be better. So that's what I did. Yeah, I freaking cried half my gym sessions, bro. Because, losing a mom's the hardest thing I think any man could go through. I lost my dad, I lost my mom. We lost so much family in the last 5 years, bro. But losing a mom, that sucks. But I dealt with it with the gym, bro. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. The gym's my drug, So
They're
I tell
not
people,
always motivated either.
You're not always motivated, bro.
You
gotta be
but we're
disciplined.
disciplined.
Because, like I post all the time, people always find an excuse not to go to the gym. I always find an excuse to go back to the gym, bro. I'm there 4 or 5 times a day, bro. Sometimes I know like shit. Okay, maybe I'm done.
Yeah.
My whole body feels like it's gonna tear apart. But you know that's the feeling I like, bro. You know,
Yeah.
and we're leading by example.
Yeah.
You know, if I want to preach it, I want to do it.
Yeah.
Same thing with relationships. We've gone a lot of marriages, bro, and we've saved a lot of marriages that come to us. They were on the verge of a divorce, bro.
We do
6 months
couples
later,
training.
they're happy. They're
Just
shit,
fun.
taking selfies,
Yeah.
flexing together. I was like, we saved this marriage. I was like,
Have competitions with them, just
we
play with
make
them,
it
have fun,
bro.
Mhm.
you know, make it not so serious, it could be fun too.
'Cause I think people, I hate working on my wife, I work on my husband. Because the husband's always kind of controlling when you take your girl at the gym.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta take a step back, bro, and just, try to be patient with your girl.
Yeah.
And it's, as a man, it's the little things they like. I could buy her a diamond necklace right now, she'll be happy. But if I buy her a dozen roses every single week, she's happier.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing that for years, bro. I buy her 2 dozen roses every Friday. And those are the things that, make her happy, bro. It's that little stuff.
Mhm.
And then sometimes she'll be like, their girls will be telling her, I wish my man would do that. And they'll be texting me, bro, like, hey, bro, now my girl wants me to buy her roses every weekend. I was like, bro, you should be doing that.
Yeah.
It's the little things they like. It's not always the fancy, extravagant shit. Because I buy her all that stuff, but
Yeah.
she likes the little stuff, bro.
Do you think that's what social media is portraying, that you have to be
Yes,
materialistic?
bro. Because everyone thinks, oh, I got to buy my wife all this and that and show
Yeah.
it off. But then they forget. And
little
I'm not
things.
perfect either, bro. I've made plenty of flaws. It took me a long time to learn.
Yeah.
It's a man in training, bro. It's like, well, I got you trained now. But we are, bro. We have to
Yeah.
learn how to make women. Women are the emotional creatures, bro.
Mhm.
And men are blocked off. We have to learn to be emotional too, bro, and listen to them, because I think we ignore them too much.
Mhm.
For 10 years I worked a lot, bro, and I ignored my wife a lot. I did.
Mhm.
But I was just trying to work, but I thought I was doing a good job.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. I was neglecting my wife. So I had to find a way to make that work, bro. When we started our own businesses, it helped.
Yeah.
Now she's probably sick of seeing me, bro, because we work together all day and night. But
I'm like,
but it's like, you have to balance everything. But she
Yeah.
has her time with the clients. I work off the phone. So even though we work
my
together,
clients
we
become
don't.
my friends.
Yeah,
I don't
man.
have time for friends.
Yeah.
They're a gym family.
So that's kind of what my outlook on making a marriage work, bro. Put God first in your relationship, number one.
Love
Yeah.
yourself.
And people will always come into your relationship trying to tear it apart. A lot of people will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And snakes don't reveal themselves right away, bro. But if someone says something bad about your partner, that's when you put that wall up. Hey, man, I don't do that.
Yeah.
Or her the same way. I don't care if it's your mom or your dad, bro. If you love that person and it's working and you love them, they gotta support you, bro.
Mhm.
Because if they're talking crap about your partner, then now you'll start resenting your partner. Or something goes on there.
Yeah.
And I feel like families get in between couples all the time. Or
Yeah.
friends. When you meet a friend, oh, bro, what's up? We used to go out every weekend. I was like, bro, I got a family now. Like a lot of I don't hang out with that many people no more, bro, because they go out too much still.
Yeah.
Like, let's go have drinks. I don't drink, bro. We'll have a barbecue, go to a fancy dinner. I'd rather spend my money on food, bro.
Yeah.
People
too.
you want calories, bro? I'll fucking rather eat steaks, dude.
Yeah.
And there's balance to life, bro. I don't have nothing against people drinking or smoking or whatever. If you use it, just everything in balance, bro. Everything's moderation.
Yeah.
Me, I don't do it because I chose not to.
Mhm. So I know you're a good example for a lot of young men, right? As far as like your knowledge, your advice. What advice would you give to men that have low self-esteem, low confidence, and I feel like a lot of men act like bitches nowadays.
They do, bro.
Like what advice you give to people to kind of like toughen up? Like us men, we got to really step up to the plate and take control, take leadership of the household. Their marriage, their relationships, their friendships.
And that comes from self-development. If you don't work on you, if you don't love you, you can't help anybody else and you can't love nobody else. But men got to understand, bro, you got to go back to the old ways. My dad grew up in the railroads, bro, at 13 years old.
Mhm.
So I had to pull weeds in a whole acre growing up by myself. My brothers had to. You got to be a man, bro. Like my son, he's 19 now. I taught him how to work on cars. We go pull weeds together, even though I don't want you to, but I teach them these things, bro. So he's a man. I told him, you should know how to change a tire. You should know how to change your oil. you should work construction once in your life. We had him work construction with my niece's fiance. I think
Taught him how to cook.
too many of these men nowadays,
shop.
bro. I think the issue is broken homes.
Yeah.
They're with their mom and not with the dad, and it makes them soft. So I think that's the biggest issue. So, bro, go to the gym, work on yourself, get healthy, get that self-confidence that you need, bro, and love yourself. And that'll help you. And surround yourself with people that are like that, man. You have to be motivated.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to surround yourself with, like I tell, you can hang, you say you have 10 friends, right? You hang out with 5 dummies, what are you?
6 dummy.
You hang out with 5 millionaires, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you become? Eventually you get there.
Yeah.
Same thing, it's who you surround yourself with. And then these kids that come from the broken homes where they're just with mom, they gotta find an outlet, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like what Donald's doing, what we do, go to the gym. Go, my buddy Donald's, they're teaching boxing, self-defense. We teach life coaching. So I do teach a lot of the youth. I've been coaching for 20 years. I coached football for 10 years. So a lot of those kids I coached when they were 6, 7 years old, they still text me to this day because they didn't have a dad, bro. So I kind of play that dad role. So I know how it is when these kids come from broken homes, and that's where it's happening. It's coming from a home where they only have a mom.
Yeah.
So they need to find a mentor, whether it's a coach. If not, go to a gym, hire a freaking coach, bro. Go join boxing.
It's your best
kickboxing.
investment. The way you feel.
They need to work
when you
on
feel good, you look
themselves,
good.
bro. Yeah, if you look good, like we said earlier, when you get that pump, you go hit the bag, whatever it is, you feel like a man now.
Yeah.
And now you worked on yourself. Now go get a job. A lot of these kids relying on mommy for everything. Go get a job and take care of your mom. Step it up. You gotta be a fucking man, bro. Like, the world's too soft. The girls are getting stronger than men.
Yeah, they are.
And that's not the way it's supposed to be. That's not the way God made us. And I respect power women. Like, she's real in her power, and she's rising with me. But your woman should never surpass you, bro. Why?
I know my place. I let him lead, because he is the man.
And that's a man's job. If your woman overpowers you, now she doesn't respect you no more.
Yeah.
Because now she feels like, well, I don't need him. I'm doing the man job too. Like,
Yeah.
that's what breaks relationships too. Is, maybe your wife starts making more money than you. Well, guess what, bro? Figure it out.
And
Make
they
it
train
work.
him to be like that, and then they don't like him. Then they want a manly man when you didn't let him be one,
Yeah.
So it's like,
Sometimes women
don't control it.
Yeah, sometimes women gotta balance that too. Well, I'm making my money, but I still gotta let him be
Must
the
be a
man of the
balance.
house. Because then he turns into a pussy. He said, straight up. And then they're scared to say anything. Or you can't spoil your man like he's the kid.
Yeah.
Let him step up too. He has to spoil you too. He has to. Even if the woman's making more money, bro, you have to find that balance. That's where the broken relationships come too. Because now wifey's mommy and everything. That's not the way it's supposed to be, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You're the man of the house. Be the man of the house. And the kids to the youth, bro, they need a mentor. Find a mentor. I talk to all the kids in the gym, bro. I give them advice every day. Any knowledge I can spit to them, bro, and they love me after that. Just that one nice comment I give them, bro.
Or a tip, pointer. There's some kids that think they're doing the workout right, and you just, hey, let me show you how. This is how you do it.
Yeah, I'll just walk up to them, bro, and they're always looking at me, or people talk to me, whatever. Just give them a little pointer, bro. It changes the whole outlook, bro.
Yeah.
They're like, man, this guy's cool. And now they're all motivated. Now they come up to me at the gym every few days, bro. But that's what I want. If they don't have a dad at home, bro, I'll step in.
Yeah.
I'll give them advice. I'll give them my time. If I could just change one person at a time, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell people, I give everyone my number, bro. You could call me or text me whenever. I'll help you.
Yeah.
We'll help you. If you have a sister in town, my wife will help you. Your mom, whoever. We take them all, bro. Sometimes we start with training a mom before we train the whole family. So, we're all about helping people, bro. And
Nice.
that's our goal.
I know you guys, a lot of guys got a lot of goals and ambitions, but what's next for y'all? Like, what's next on the radar?
The next thing is getting that big gym open.
Uh-huh.
And I want to chain it out to the United States, bro. That's my ultimate goal.
Yeah.
My goal is generational wealth for my family. That's it. I won't be happy till I accomplish that. And like I tell her, I have my vision board on my car. I want my Bugatti, period. Because I know when I got my car I want,
Yeah.
my family's set for life. It's not about the material car, because a lot of people say, well, that's a horrible
the
thing.
goal.
They lose value.
Yeah.
By the time, when you get to the point where you could afford that, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That means my family is set up for life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and that's my ultimate goal, bro. Is I want to start a chain of just gyms that offer everything, not just to go work out. You know, life coaching, mentoring kids, getting them off the streets. I
Having
offer
classes, posing, you know.
getting people into bodybuilding, boxing, whatever it is. I'm gonna have everything in that gym that you could think of. I'm gonna make sure I have someone for everything, gymnastics, boxing, fighters, whatever it is. I want to invite everyone with open arms. You know, I want to have tattoo shop there, barber shop, everything.
We definitely need that in Albuquerque.
We need something that you go there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you leave the gym.
One-stop shop.
Yeah, bro, you got to leave the gym. I go buy my supplements. Oh, I got to go get a haircut at Homeboy's place. I already talked to Zay, and told him, bro, you can open your barber shop in my gym.
Protein smoothies after workout.
She takes care of all the clients too, bro. She makes protein smoothies. We have a cookbook that came out a year ago. That option's there if
And
anyone
it's
needs
digital, so yeah.
it. Meet your macros. And,
Meal prep service.
we're sponsored through a lot of places, bro. Supplements, meal prep service, recovery center. So,
We have all the tools.
we have the
and,
tools for everyone to
yeah,
just change their whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just get with the right coaches. I tell people, get with the people that care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people do this for money.
And how can we make it a fit state, instead of a violent state, you
Yeah.
know?
That's another thing we got to turn on. That's
How
what
can
we're
we all
talking
come
about, getting kids
together,
off the street,
you know?
bro.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Turn all the
Look.
kids that dealing with violence and drugs and shit, get them in shape, get them into fighting, working
Yeah.
out, whatever it is, get them off the streets.
Yeah, but that definitely comes
That's
up
my
from a
goal.
lack of incentive out here.
Yeah, and
yeah.
we don't have that, bro. And
Yeah.
we have a few people that care, but now we got to act on it.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't cost money to get these big things going, bro, but it's good. The best investment is helping people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said before, we help people, God will take care of us, bro.
Yeah,
We won't be in debt because we're helping people.
absolutely.
You'll help us. We'll overcome all that, bro,
Yeah.
because you put him first.
Yeah, I hope anybody watching this podcast, they get inspired by y'all too, you guys' gym journey, also you guys' marriage. It's very impressive nowadays because everyone wants to quit. You guys definitely show
Bro.
traits of perseverance and, keep pushing forward and stuff. So I commend you guys for that. I really
Thank
wish
you.
you guys the best. I know you personally on a personal level, so, you're my dog. I hope you
Yeah, I
guys
appreciate
make that killer-ass gym and put Albuquerque on the map and fix this
sir.
community around because this definitely needs it,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really
Sure.
appreciate you guys coming on here.
No problem.
Thank you so much for having us.
Of course, I got you. Before I end today's podcast, guys, today I want to give a huge shout out to our two main sponsors. We got Hookah Kings, the top-rated hookah lounge in New Mexico, and Merino Media, quality content for your business and image. And I'll see you guys next time on the Smart Talk.